Hello there, guys. So here we're gonna talk about ABBA and Preach, and again, they're talking about police, simply because it is a very popular thing to talk about right now. As a very wise man once said,
yet again in America.
silent is talking about ABBA and Preach. And by the way, I do actually like watching ABBA and Preach. It's just that when they talk about police is when I disagree with them a lot. Not saying that's the only time when I disagree with them on stuff, but the other videos that they make, I agree with for the most part. So without further ado,
let us commence forth.
Today's topic, Dante Wright.
Just miles from where George Floyd died.
Well. Speak of the devil, if it isn't the wise man we were talking about.
Yet again in America.
And why does it look like Preach is about to bust a nut?
There was a struggle. The police chief says one of the officers pulled out her gun by mistake, thinking it was her taser, and fired. Today, the police chief released body cam video of the shooting.
Bruh.
See, this is the reason I script my videos. So I know I will be cutting out all the parts where they paused, so you guys don't have to deal with that crap anymore.
Your gun when you're a cop is on your dominant hand. It's your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, your gun's gonna be on your right. Your taser is gonna be on your left. When you shoot your taser and you yell taser, 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 because that's what she did.
I'm not watching the video. If you gotta watch it, you go watch it.
You yell taser, 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 and you have your gun in your hand. Distraction, I guess.
I know most people don't take this into consideration even though it affects most of their lives, but there is always a chance that something absurd is going to happen. Like, example,
getting struck by lightning is a proverbially unlikely event, but Walter Summerford wasn't just struck by lightning once during his life, he was struck 3 times. It never killed him, but 4 years after his death, his gravestone was also struck by lightning. The law of truly large numbers also comes into play here, with lightning striking Earth 40 to 50 times a second. Billions of people for it to strike and thousands of years of recorded history, it's actually not surprising at all that at least once a story like Summerford's would have happened.
just like the shooting, which most reasonable people will agree that it was an accident. It does not matter that she was a police officer for more than 20 years. People are not robots and will make mistakes. Unless there is more proof out there that we haven't seen, there is no reason to think that she was trying to kill someone. This does not mean that she should get off scot-free just because it was an accident. Stuff like this is going to happen no matter how well we train the police. The best we can do is minimize it. This happens to us in a smaller scale, like those days when everything goes wrong. If you haven't had one of those days, you will.
That's what it comes down to. Maybe it's just how I was raised. Maybe it's because of the fact that I've seen how things work in the army. But like these kinds of mistakes that the cops get away with would never fly in the army. So that's why I'm just like, I can't respect it. You know what I mean? Like, when you have more responsibilities with how you handle foreign citizens in a foreign country as a soldier, it strikes me as completely odd that we have more responsibilities in like those kind of areas, those combat zones, right? When then you have police officers who handle your own local citizens not being held accountable for the stuff that they do.
Yeah, I'm sure people in the army never get away with war crimes. Yeah, that never happens. There is no way that would ever happen. That does happen, Abba. The difference is that you don't hear about it because the media doesn't care too much about reporting it. That, and it's a lot easier to cover up something that happens in third world countries.
And now the police chief has also resigned after this incident. It's like, why are you resigning? Why? Because there's a mistake and you don't want to handle the pressure of being responsible for the poor training of your own people that you employ? It's crazy to me, bro. It's crazy to me.
Ooh, shit.
Imagine
Shit's about to hit the floor.
Yeah, you're in a
you don't
position
wanna
of leadership and you just book it. Like, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, it's not like nobody's going to harass him and his family if he says the wrong thing. That can't be it. He's just a coward. Come on, Abba.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Alright, I don't think I need to see any more.
I thought you were in the army. You can't handle that video? You don't see blood. You hardly hear the guy scream in pain. It's not like the guy gets his head blown off. By the way, I will show everything, unless the video gets taken down. And don't worry, it's not graphic. Trust me.
When I lived in Los Angeles for a couple years, bro, I would get stopped on my bicycle multiple times. And I'm like, why y'all stop? He's like, oh, we just patrolling. We want to ask you a couple questions. I'm like, is there something happening? He's like, no, but you're going to stay there. I was like, but why is this? Why are you bothering me?
They bored.
So because of these quote-unquote bad experiences, you now dislike the police, even though those reasons you give aren't even that bad. Did you ever stop to think where you were? Maybe you were in a bad neighborhood, so you would stop more often. I feel like when people with his mindset are in this type of situation, they don't think about any other reason as to why the police stopped them. They just think that the police are out to get them. I only know one person like that in real life, and they do this. They even told me they crashed into a police car, but they were ranting about being fined, like they weren't to blame. And keep in mind, I know other people who have had an encounter with the police, and they don't blame the police. It's really just this one person. As for me, I had never had an encounter with the police, so that's my take on that.
You know, the people are there, they're there to protect and serve, but the serve part really doesn't feel like it's there sometimes. It feels like it's like protect and oppress at times. And that's the stuff you don't see on cam.
And who are you protecting?
You know, and that's the stuff that you don't see on cam sometimes.
The public preach, that's who they protect. Don't act like that's not the case.
And even if
you have this like arrogant, smug feel about you, like you're not here for the public. Like, did you forget you're a public servant? I could not imagine being in the army and then having that kind of attitude towards civilians, to civilians that you're meant to protect. I couldn't imagine.
Well,
I couldn't imagine, and I couldn't imagine working as a government official. When I worked in the government, and I was like, I couldn't imagine talking to the citizens like that when I'm supposed to serve them. I just don't get it.
Yeah, and neither can I. Did you forget that some people are just arrogant and assholes? Yeah, those people exist. Me and you probably don't behave like that, but some people do. I don't like them, but those people will always exist, like I'm sure they do in the military. But of course, that's how people are. They like to look at the world like they would never do that, but other people would. I'm just different. But are you really? Think about it this way. Would you kill someone for no reason? Would you be an asshole for no reason? No? Well, there are some people out there in the world who would. The same thing applies to the police, because guess what? The police are just people who wanted to become police. That's it. There is no great conspiracy. There's something that people say as a safe way to say all cops are bad. And this is it. If there are good cops, then why don't they speak up when they see a bad cop? First off, this assumes two things. One, that there are enough bad cops for every police officer to report. And two, that good cops don't report at all. Let me ask you something. Does that make sense? Let me ask you a better question. Would you report a police officer if he was doing something wrong and you were a police officer? I would, and I doubt you wouldn't either. After all this, you still think that the police are out to get you, or that they're all evil? Either you think that most people in society are evil, or you're just one of those people who will never change their minds. In that case, I'm not going to argue with you. I just don't like the fact that people think that the police are just so different from citizens. Like, they are citizens. They are citizens who became police officers. That's it. They have families. They have friends. They have people they care about. I agree that police officers who do crimes should be held accountable. I think most people think that. But the idea that the police are out to get you is just dumb. Also, now that I think about it, they didn't really talk about Dante Wright for most of the video. I mean, Abba talked a little bit about it, and Preacher was over there speaking French, and I'm over here like,
shut the hell up and eat a cinnamon roll.
Oh well, that's the end of the video. So, bye.